Hi dear students, welcome to LaExcellence. Today, let's discuss the Hindu news analysis of 23rd May 2020. Before we start analyzing today's article, there's a small announcement that LaExcellence IS has come up with an online live General Studies Prelims cum Mains batch for 2021. So you can take up the admissions by calling this number, or you can also register over here. As of now, the batches will be conducted in the online mode. So once the lockdown is lifted, it will be conducted in the offline mode. So you can shift to the offline mode as well. First of all, we'll discuss about the editorial articles and then we'll discuss about the targeted news analysis part. And the respective articles and their page numbers are given in this particular slide. Let us see the first article of today, that is lower the temperature and diffuse the issue. This is about India and Nepal border dispute. In the context of prelims, you have to see the mapping, that is where is Kalapani region, Susta, Mechi and Limpiapura. As well as you should also remember what is the Treaty of Sagoli, who signed the Treaty of Sagoli and what were the outcomes of Treaty of Sagoli. So this will be very important for prelims. In the context of mains, like in the GS paper 2, international relations and India and its neighborhood, this article will be very important because historically India and Nepal has very good relationship. What are the issues that we are trying to read in this article? It is about India and Nepal relations and it is in the context of boundary disputes. What we'll be learning from this particular article, we'll try to learn what are the recent disputes that is happening between India and Nepal and what are the historical factors that contributed to this particular dispute of today and what would be the approach that we can evolve or we can come up with to resolve this dispute. Before we discuss about the editorial analysis part, let's see how India and Nepal has a unique relationship of friendship and cooperation. We also have a deep-rooted people-to-people contact of culture and the kinship. So, first of all, coming up with the backgrounders, so firstly, you have to remember that Nepal shares border with 5 Indian states. Those 5 Indian states are Sikkim, West Bengal, Bihar, UP and Uttarakhand. Moving on further, India and Nepal has a very unique relationship. It's because of the India-Nepal Treaty of Peace and Friendship Agreement. Moving on further, let's try to understand what is this current boundary demarcation issue. The first one is with respect to Treaty of Sagoli of 1816. See, before Anglo-Nepal War, that is Treaty of Sagoli, Nepalese kingdom stretched from Sutlej River in the west to Teesta River in the east. Therefore, the boundary of Nepal was between Sutlej to Teesta. Then, after Anglo-Nepalese war, after Nepal lost the war, Nepalese territory was limited to the present territories. That is, Nepal areas and the lowlands that is between river Kali and Rapti were to belong to the Anglo-Indian or East Indian Company. Therefore, because of this agreement, the Survey of India maps since from 1870s has been showing that the Lipu Lake Pass down to the Lipu Lake Pass, that Kalapani region is part of the British India. Even the Nepal rulers and the kings never objected or raised their issues with respect to this agreement. Then later on, Nepal-India Joint Technical Level Boundary Committee was set up in 1981 and this committee almost worked for 26 years and it completed almost 97% of the boundary problems and the remaining 3% was claimed to be beyond their capacity to resolve and that 3% is where currently the issue is upon. That is one region of Kalapani, Lumpiadhura and the another important encroachment was Susta. Susta belongs to around 25 kilometers. So Kalapani is a tri-junction region that is between India, Nepal and the China. Therefore, we call it as to be a strategic location and it is a valley that is being administered by India and we consider it is to be part of Pithoragarh district of Uttarakhand. And it's an en route or situated on the route of Kailas Manasarovara Yatra. So that's the reason it has gained more importance now. Because Defence Minister very recently inaugurated a road from Dharchula to Lipu Lake, which is an en route to Kailas Manasarovar Yatra. So that's where it is most prominently it is in the news. Moving further, the Treaty of Sagoli, as per that agreement, Kali River was considered as a Nepal's western border with India. Thereby, Kalapani region belonged to the Pithoragarh district of Uttarakhand. So this is the official argument. We'll try to understand why this issue or why we are not able to solve this particular issue. So first of all, we have a conflicting view with respect to origin of the river, that is River Kali. The first set of team who are trying to put their arguments are scholars and researchers along with the Nepal government. See, what they are trying to say is that river which flows to the west of the Kalapani region. So if this is a Kalapani region, the river which flows to the west of Kalapani region is the main river Kali. So, and the origin of this Kali river is in the Limpudara. So Limpudara or Lipu Lake Pass. So therefore, this Kali river as well as Limpudara both belongs to the Nepal territory is their argument. Okay, and we have a second group of people, that is India-Nepal Technical Level Boundary Working Group, that was set up in 1981, the Boundary Working Group, and we have Indian officials. What they are trying to argue is that the river Kali originated from a small rivulet that is named as Pankagad. Pankagad is south of Kalapani, therefore, and on the eastern part of it, therefore it belongs to the Indian territory. So the main issue is with respect to the origin of the Kali river. Second problem is with respect to the naming of river Kali. See, what has happened is in the upper stretches it is called as Kali, and in the middle stretches it is called as Mahakali, and in the lower stretches the same Kali river is being called as Arjo and Gogra. Third reason why the current issue is getting more complicated is because of the conflicting view with respect to the maps or the authenticity of maps that is being declared. Nepal tries to say that consider the maps that was prepared during the 1850s and 1856 with the participation of Nepali authorities. As per that, the Kalapani region belongs to the Nepal. But however, India tries to argue them that they cannot consider that as a map of proof. India wants it to be considered the maps of 1875 as the true maps. However, India after India-China War of 1962, we have occupied Kalapani region as a strategic point of defense against the China. So moving further, in 2019, our Home Ministry released a map of India consisting with Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh as a union territory. In this map also, the Kalapani region was made to be part of the Indian territory. That's where the issue of boundary dispute started up or got raised. Boundary dispute got intensified when our defense minister inaugurated a road link to the Lipu Lake Pass. So therefore, major issues that is haunting the India-Nepal friendly relationships are first, conflict view with respect to origin of the Kali river. Second thing is with respect to the naming of Kali river. The third one is with respect to the authenticity of the maps. When it comes to India-Nepal disputes, so we have already studied what is Kalapani dispute. So now let's try to understand what is the Susta dispute exactly. Susta is a territory which has been surrounded by India in all the three sides, with one side being the Narayani river. And this Narayani river over a period of time is changing its course. So because of that, Narayani river's course is getting changed. This course change is more happening towards the Nepal region. The third one is with respect to the Mechi dispute. See, India is not accepting the Mechi, that is the jungle pillars, as the main boundary. Because of that, we have this Mechi boundary dispute. Till now, we have dealt with India-Nepal Friendship Treaty, Sigali Agreement, and what are the major causes of conflict between India and Nepal, and three regions which has been major bone of contention. So now let's see the timeline of India-Nepal relationship. So here is the timeline. First of all, in January 1816, the Harrowsmith clearly identifies the river emanating from Limpadia as the river Kali. So remember, Limpadia, the river originating from Limpadia is river Kali. Then we come up with the 1816 Sagoli Treaty, that is, the TC designates Kali river as a Nepal's western frontier. Okay. Moving on further, in 1827, the British Survey of India will release the maps. As per that, the western boundary of Nepal extended up to Limpudira, and river originating from this point is named as River Kali. Okay. So in 1827, it was very made clear that the region west of River Kali will belong to the Indian territory, and we have Kalapani in the Indian territory. Then we come up in 1950 with the India-Nepal Treaty of Peace and Friendship. As per this, Article 8 of this treaty, India-Nepal will cancel all the previous treaties or agreements or engagements, including the Sigali Treaty. So in 1950, with India-Nepal Treaty of Agreement, what we do is we cancel the Sigali Treaty. Moving further, in 1952, Nepal allowed Indian troops to stay in the Kathmandu as well as in the Kalapani region. In 1856, the researcher, that is Ratan Bhandari, in a TV report, he says that the people from Khunti, Nabi and Gunji settled on the east of the river. We used to pay the taxes to the Nepal government until 1940s. That's where the issue got popped up. Then from 1856 to 1881, they tried to manage to name River Kali as Yukti Kali or something, so that the previous named whatever Kalapani region, all these things belongs to the Nepal. Then in 1958, Nepal election happened, and after that, the Nepali people living in this area, that is in the Kalapani region, all these things, so they wanted to vote in the general elections of Nepal. In 1961, there was a population census of Nepal. As per the census, the areas that we consider today to be the Indian territory were inside the Nepal's territory back then in 1961. So this is what population census of Nepal would say. Then in 1962, India-China war would happen, and the Nepal's territory, that is Kalapani region, it has been a tri-junction or a meeting point of India, China and Nepal. So because of this strategic advantage, India has control over this particular region. Moving on further, in 1997, a joint border management committee was set up, that is to clearly demarcate the boundary dispute between the two countries. And in 1998, Indian ambassador to the Nepal so many times iterated with a press statement that Kalapani belongs to India. Then with the establishment of democracy in the Nepal, so the Prime Minister started telling that as per the historical maps and records that Kalapani religion belongs to them. But however, Indian counter-argued saying that as per the joint committee report also, the Kalapani region would belong to the India. This is how the zigzag went on. And finally in 2007, meeting of the Joint Survey Generals, 182 strip maps of Nepal and India boundaries were clearly demarcated except the controversial Susta and the Kalapani sketches. Then we wanted to resolve this dispute through a official dialogue between India and the Nepal. Therefore, India and Nepal in 2014 agreed for a joint commission or a task force commission with foreign secretaries as a member to resolve this issue. However, there was no major development with respect to this. Moving on further in 2015, India and China signed a bilateral agreement about the operating Lippo Lake as a checkpoint between India and China. Therefore, it was no longer a tri-junction, it became a bilateral crossing point between India and the China. Moving further in 2019 October, Indian government released a new map stating that Jammu Kashmir and the Ladakh region as a new union territories. In that case, Kalapani was named as a part of Indian territory. To counter this, Nepal government came out very clearly and said that Kalapani is an integral part of the Nepal territory. Now, having seen the timelines of India-Nepal relationship, quite for a long period of time, India and Nepal has always enjoyed the very good relationship and a friendly relationship. We have very good people-to-people contact also. In this current juncture, when we have such good-heartedness and win-win situation for both of us, should this boundary dispute be taken as aggressively as it is to be? Is the question of this article. And what is the highlight of this article is that the current Prime Minister of Nepal is trying to hide his incompetence by diverting the issue from the meeting the basic necessities of people towards the India-Nepal boundary issue. And the second thing is that it has deployed more armed forces near the Charjung Pass. So the problem here is it's not about the Nepal deploying the more armed forces. The question is the manner and the timing of deployment, which has raised eyebrows of Indian government. And moving on further, the third point is this. Nepal government has released a new map. In this new map, the sensitive areas which is in the zone of conflict is being depicted as the part of the Nepal territory. So thereby, it has aggravated the further dispute. Now, India and Nepal, understanding its unique relationship and the special relationship, should solve this issue in a bilateral way and with a quiet diplomacy rather than going up with the aggressive tones. The next important article of the editorial is Note on the Digital Currency Plan Made in China. See, this article is very important in the context of prelims. They may ask you the questions related to the bitcoins, the cryptocurrencies that is being developed, and they can also ask you about the status of cryptocurrencies with respect to India. But for the mains context, it is very important in the GS paper 2, that is effects of policies in developing and developed countries on India's interest. More than that, in the GS paper 3, it's very important in the context of cyber security as well. Before we move on to the highlights of the article, let's try to understand what is cryptocurrency and what is blockchain technology. Cryptocurrencies are the decentralized digital currencies which will be having some kind of an encryption technologies, by using which we can try to generate the units of currency, we can verify the transfer of funds, and they can also operate without central bank authentication also. Examples of cryptocurrencies are bitcoins, Ethereum, etc. So what this cryptocurrencies uses a decentralized system that is based on the blockchain technology. So let's try to understand what is this blockchain technology then. So first of all, what is this blockchain? See, a blockchain is a decentralized ledger where all the transactions from peer-to-peer network will be maintained. So what you have to remember here, it is nothing but a data structure. So with this data structure, we are trying to ensure the transactions will happen in the most secure manner, as well as it will be encrypted across the networks. that is being distributed. You can see over in this image. Okay, so the technology allows transactions to be more secure, but at the same time it will ensure its anonymity. Okay, and it will be an instant transaction. There will be no kind of frictions over here. So here the word, one more word what you have to remember is this block. What is this block? Block is a current part of a blockchain which records all the transaction or the recent transactions. It's something kind of a ledger book. Once this ledger book is filled, how do we store it in the government documents? Similarly, this once a block is completely filled, it will be stored in a blockchain as a permanent database. Each time a block gets completed, a new block will get generated, and these blocks are linked to each other. Like, see, for example, we have ledger book 1, ledger book 2, ledger book 3. So there will be a linear fashion, a chronological order will be maintained. So that's how a blockchains will get added. Okay, so now see, someone requests for the transaction, then it will go to a peer-to-peer network consisting of computers as well as the nodes. Then once the payment is validated, then the networks of nodes will validate the statement, that is by using the algorithms. So once a verified transaction will be having with a cryptocurrency, other agreements or records or information. So once this transaction is being verified, once the verification gets completed, then in such a case a new block of data for the ledger will be developed. So and then this will go and get segregated as a block like here. Okay, and then the new block is then added to the existing blockchain. In this way a permanent database will get built. So once it is added to the ledger, you will get an acknowledgement. So similar way the transaction will be completed. So this is how a blockchain technology will work. The advantage is that it has been completely secure, anonymous, peer-to-peer, and the fastest. The best part of it is it allows for the decentralization of technology. Having understood the advantages of blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, let us see what are the issues of cryptocurrency. First issue is with respect to the fluctuations in the value of cryptocurrency. See, what happens is, based on the demand and supply, the cryptocurrency, there is a wide variations in the value. That's the first issue. And the second issue is with respect to the difficulty in usage by the common people. The third one is with respect to there is some kind of software bugs that is being developed in these kind of the cryptocurrencies. Fourth point is it is being not backed by any of the government like fiat currency. So where fiat currency, there will be a law, statutory law supporting or backing the currency. But in case there is no statutory backing for the cryptocurrencies. And the cryptocurrencies have a huge impact on the economy as well as security. So many a time bitcoins have been used for buying the illegal goods and services like drugs, arms, etc. or weapons by the terrorists. And it has also been used, mostly misused in the money laundering also. And as we say it is secure, there is also a chances that cryptocurrency and wallets could be hacked by the hackers. Despite all these issues, China had made a developmental plan, that is FinTech Development Plan 2019-2021. As per this plan, China wants to develop an inclusive, prudent and flexible currency mechanism, that is a centralized currency mechanism based on the cryptocurrencies. This pilot project, now the Central Bank of China, that is People's Bank of China, wants to expand by giving a license to the financial institutions for an innovation test. Now, since China is giving permission for this digital currency, it seems that the China Central Bank digital currency, that is CBDC, is coming up with something called as digital currency electronic payment. See, this is nothing but a mobile wallet. See, we all of us have a Airtel wallet like that, no? Similarly, a mobile wallet they are coming up with this, and in this mobile wallet the actual currency, that is digital currency, and the actual currency will be pegged to 1 rupee. So like if I have 1 rupee in hand, that is equivalent to a digital 1 rupee. Okay, so that is pegged with 1:1 ratio with the fiat currency. Here a question may come to you, what is fiat currency? The currency that is issued by the central bank and that is being backed by the sovereign, or that is the government. That is what we call it as fiat currency. So DCEP, that is digital currency electronic payment, is the first such serious initiative that has been taken up by the government in the worldwide. So why is this China government taking this particular measure? It's because China has emerged as the capital of the crypto ecosystem, and almost 90% of its trading volume is happening with respect to this, and more than that, 2/3 of the Bitcoin mining operations are happening in the China. So because of this, China wants to tackle and curb any of its runaway crypto practices. So therefore it has come up with this DCEP. What is the advantages of China having introduced the DCEP? So first of all, So whenever we had the paper currency that is being used, 1 to 2% of GDP was getting wasted because of the high handling charges of it. Then second thing, it could be a powerful antidote for the tax evasion, money laundering and terror financing. How does it do it like that? See, I already told you, bitcoins can be misused. So now if the central government is coming in between, if the process is happening through the government, then in such a case, the extra tax revenues will come into the government rather than the tax evasion. And the third thing is, as in the Indian government, we can see the direct benefit transfer. Even the Chinese government can go for financial inclusion measures. In case of emergencies, they can instantly do the direct benefit transfer within fraction of second that can reach to the wallets of all the citizens of the country. And the central bank digital currency will give a very powerful insights into the purchasing patterns of the citizens. It's something it will like this the central government will be able to analyze what are the choice patterns of its citizens. So these are the advantages. So what are the concerns then? As citizens choices will be more made to the government, so there is a chances that citizens privacy will be violated, anonymity will be violated, and the state will become more like a surveillance state. In the long run, it's believed that this CBDC can also be used for the cross-border payments, making it more fast and the frictionless. Then one thing which comes into your mind is how is this DCEP will be designed by Chinese government. So in the DCEP, it will be made in a two tiers. So tier 1 and the tier 2. In the tier 1, the central bank is trying to control all the financial intermediaries. Like we have institutional development banks, no? So similar financial institutions, central bank is trying to link up. Okay. So once the central bank gets the control over all these financial intermediaries, tier 2, these financial intermediaries will go to the citizens interface. Okay. Every financial intermediaries will go for the citizens interface. So this is how a DCEP will be developed. So since the central bank is having control over all the financial authorities, so here there will be a primacy of the monetary authority to control over the currencies movement. Other advantage of this two structure is that so they are trying to use the existing machinery, along with that they are extending the influence of the existing machinery. So that is what is the advantage of DCEP in this model. And the next question that obviously will come to our mind is, what is this China trying to signal with the DCEP launch to the world global order? First of all, it wants to challenge the hegemony of US dollar as the default global reserve currency. Second thing is, with the fintech, it wants to showcase how DCEP can be used as a weapon to counter the American big technology companies. Third thing is, it wants to replace the Alipay or WeChat Pay, the global fintech companies, with the Chinese domestic payment system that is based on the DCEP. So they want to promote usage of more of their domestic digital payment system rather than going for a Alipay or WeChat Pay. Because this Alipay or WeChat Pay may be threatening the authority of the central bank. So with having a central bank owned digital currency system and the wallet, then in such a case, central bank authority will be enhanced. So the China's move from gold to silver, silver to paper, paper to digital shows the march of currencies. China has rolled on its own Chinese bank digital currencies. Through that, it is trying to challenge other nations to follow its track. So till now we've understood what is cryptocurrencies, what are blockchain technology, and then we moved on to the what is CBDC and what is a digital wallet system that is being developed by China, that is DCEP, and what are the challenges or what are the advantages of this system and what are the disadvantages or concerns of the system, and what is that, how is it challenging the global order. Along with that, what is the current India's context? Let's try to understand. So there was a high level panel that was led by Subhas C. Garg. So as per this thing, all the private cryptocurrencies will be banned in India. So in India, we do not develop or we do not encourage any kind of cryptocurrencies. Is having to develop the central bank digital currency, like as how China is trying to say. So in that regard, they are developing a model digital currency also. Model digital currency as developed will be regulated by RBI, and then DEA will facilitate the use of DLT technology in entire financial field. Suppose if you are using any of the cryptocurrency, the offences will be made cognizable and the non-bailable offence, and a fine of 25 crore or 3 times the loss or the gains made out of the usage of cryptocurrency has to be paid as the fine, and a jail of up to 10 years will be given for the indirect or a direct use of cryptocurrencies. So in India, we can say there is a stringent provisions against the use of the virtual currency. Moving on to the articles of targeted news analysis, the first article is about the RBI cuts the repo rate again down to 4%. This is a measure that RBI is taking in order to increase the liquidity in the economy. So in context of prelims, it is very important you have to remember the words like repo rate, reverse repo rate, and about the Monetary Policy Committee and functions of Monetary Policy Committee. When in the context of mains, it is important in the context of GS paper 3, that is Indian economy and issues related to growth and liquidity. This year you can expect a question from the UPSC asking about the liquidity measures taken by the government or by the RBI. So in this context, let's try to understand what is this issue is all about. It's about the COVID-19 lockdown, and the dimension is about the monetary measures that has been taken by RBI in order to revive the economy. So now we have Monetary Policy Committee. The Monetary Policy Committee has been given with the responsibilities of framing the monetary policy of the country by using tools like a repo rate, reverse repo rate, bank rate, and the cash reserve ratio. Monetary Policy Committee is constituted under RBI Act under the Section 45ZB of the Act, which was amended in 1934. MPC has been given the responsibility of deciding the various policy rates, that is related to MSF, repo rate, reverse repo rate, and the liquidity adjustment facility. So remember one thing, it's very important functions are framing the monetary policy, and it will decide about the policy rates. You should also remember the composition of MPC. MPC will consist of 6 members. Out of the 6 members, the 3 will be nominated from the government. 3 members will be selected by the Search and Selection Committee under the leadership of the Cabinet Secretary, along with RBI Governor and External Affairs Ministry. Okay, and the other 3 members will be from the RBI, consisting of RBI Governor and Deputy Governor of RBI, who's been in charge of the monetary policy, and the third person will be the Executive Director of the Central Bank. So totally, out of 6 members, 3 will be from RBI and 3 will be from the government nominees. But remember one thing, no government officials can be part of this committee. Moving on further, the important thing is that the committee members will be having a tenure of 4 years and they'll not be eligible for reappointment. Decisions are made with the majority of voting, and one important thing what you have to remember with respect to RBI governor role is that he will not enjoy a veto power over the other panel members. In case there is a tie between the panel members, he can go for a casting vote. So remember, it is very important with respect to the role of the RBI governor here. So the highlights of this article are that, first of all, RBI, in order to infuse the liquidity in the market, has reduced the repo rate by 40 bps. Then second thing is moratorium on the loans for the other 3 months. Next 3 months you need not pay your interest rates, but however later period of time it has to be paid as a term loan. Then with respect to the classification of asset as or classification of a loan as an NPA, it shall not be done at this current juncture. Then it has also made some of the predictions that with respect to GDP, there will be a negative growth in the first half, and later over a period of in the second half, it will improvise. And coming to the inflation, it will be under the control in the first half, and in the second half, it is expected that headline inflation would further come down. And in case of NBFC loans, case by case the considerations would be made, and with respect to the working capital loans, moratorium is extended for 6 more months. So these are some of the highlights of the article. However, in the context of the exam, just try to remember how RBI tries to bring in the liquidity in the market. Let's move on to the next article, that is, in stunning reversal of fortunes, Turkey emerges as a kingmaker in Libya. This article in the context of prelims, you have to remember about the Libya and where exactly it comes in the word map. That is geography through maps perspective. It is very important. Coming to the mains, it's important in GS paper 2, that is international relations. And what are the effects of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on the India's interest? What is this issue is related to? It is related to war in Libya. Dimension is about the global powers involvement in the war in Libya. So this article is in the news because recently the Libyan fighters, with the support of the Turkish forces, they have captured the air base that is present in the Tripoli region. So what is this Libyan fighters all about? Let's try to understand. First of all, in 2011, there was a major upheaval in the Libya with the fall of Muhammad Gaddafi. After this, there is some kind of a proxy war that is being happening in Libya. And the 2 main contenders in this proxy wars are Libyan government backed by United Nations and Turkey, and the other team is General Khalifa Haftar, who has been backed by UAE and Russia. So this proxy war is witnessing the supplies of weapons, firefighters and mercenaries from Russia, UAE and Turkey into the Libya. So you can see with this image the areas that is being occupied by Libyan National Army, as well as the areas that is under control with the United Nations backed government and the allied militia. The recent Libyan government occupying the Tripoli, this thing. So Turkey has been emerged as a kingmaker in the Libya. So this could be a best example of how global powers are involving in the internal affairs of any country and how it is affecting a civil war or the civilizational ethos in that particular country. Let's move to the next article. Will exit Open Skies Treaty, announces the United States. See, this article is very important in the context of prelims. In prelims, they've already asked the treaty with respect to New START. They can also ask about the US-Russia arms control. So, various agreements that has been signed by United States and Russia in order to control the arms. Okay. So, the various treaties are Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty, Conventional Forces in Europe Treaty, then Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, and in the exam they've already asked about the START treaty, that is New Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, and they can also ask you about Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. These agreements along with the Open Skies Treaty are very important for the prelims. So in the context of mains also, you can expect a question from GS paper 2, that is international relations. What are the effects of US withdrawing from these policies with respect to the global military order? And coming to the issue is with respect to Open Skies Treaty, and the dimension is US plan to exit from this particular treaty. The idea of Open Sky Treaties Agreement came up in 1992 and it came into effect from 2002. So, what is the intention of having an Open Sky Treaty Agreement? It is to gather the information on the military forces and their activities through an aerial survey. That is, the overflights you are trying to assess what is the military technologies or developments that is being made. Okay, and throughout the operation of Sky Treaty Agreement, it has increased the transparency with respect to military, and it has also brought in much predictability. It has helped to build a much global order with much of trust and the confidence, and it has also helped the mutual understanding. So you can see the 34 Open Sky Treaty states that is being party to this agreement. So as per this today's article, US is planning to exit from this agreement on the pretext that Russia is violating the norms of treaty. Recently has been withdrawing from many of these treaties like that. For example, Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty also US withdrawn, and with the withdrawal of Skies Treaty, it is also expected that US would not come up or would not sign the New START Treaty that is yet to be renewed in the next year. So it may cause a caution with respect to the military developments that is happening across the countries then. Let's move on to the next article, that is locust swarms attacks crops in the Madhya Pradesh. In the context of prelims, it's very important you have to understand what is first of all locust swarms and which are the regions that they are particularly inflicted to. And in the context of mains, it's very important in GS paper 3, that is for disaster and disaster management, and in the context of GS paper 3, that is with respect to the agriculture and the crop loss. And what is the issue is related to? It is related to locust swarms. And where is the current attack which is happening? It is in Madhya Pradesh. First of all, what are these locusts? See, locusts are the migratory short-horned grasshoppers with the voracious feeding behavior. Okay. See, they always migrate from a longer distances. In India, we have 4 species of locusts. Different types of locust are desert, migratory, Bombay, and tree locust. Okay, and see the capacity of locust eating capacity. It is almost 2,500 times what human being can eat. Okay, and this locust is not only limited to the Indian countries; it has also been affected by the other Asian countries as well. So we can see that Horn of Africa, Red Sea area, and Southwest Asia. These are the 3 hotspots or extremely alarming situations who have been facing the hotspots of this locust. Last year, that is in 2019-20, because of this locust, 375,000 hectares of crop loss has happened in Rajasthan, Punjab, Gujarat and Haryana. Usually, the Rajasthan government would come up with a roadmap and block the locust spread from there. But this time, because of the lockdown, farmers in the Rajasthan could not kill the locust on time. So because of this, the locust, which has been an yearly phenomena, has been spreading into the greener areas and destroying the crop across the Madhya Pradesh. Now, state government has set up a district level teams comprising of revenue officers, police and agriculture officials so that they can track the locust and kill the locust by using a particular pesticides. These are the questions of today's article. Try to reply to these questions in the comment section. We'll explain this article in tomorrow's session. Hope this session was helpful to you. Thank you so much.